Hey guys, so today let's talk about how to maximize how much your bookkeeping business can make. So I want to preface this video, so if you're just starting out, this video is like how to maximize your first $100,000 per year. We're gonna have like more videos in the future where it's also like how to get to 200, 300, 400K per year. But for right now, if you're watching this, because a lot of the audience is just getting started, maybe you have 0 clients, maybe you have 10 clients, but you're generally gonna be under about $5 grand per month. This video is gonna be like really helpful for you. And also I have some notes on my phone, so me like looking down at my phone every once in a while because I want to make sure, I think moving forward on this channel, I want to not just shoot from the hip and kind of talk about things that I've done. I want to give you a little bit more of a polished kind of understanding and like more thought out on a lot of these different topics to give you a little bit more ability to implement some of the stuff that we're talking about. So one thing that people are really having this misunderstanding, especially if you're probably over the age of about 35, is people used to say, if you build it, they will come. And it's not that phrase is wrong, but it's not directly applicable to every person, thing, or just entity. So if you think about it, when they were starting to build like Dubai and they had this Palm Island, or the world's tallest building, that is the best, the biggest, and it's the loudest, right? They were in newspapers, people could hear about it, and it just, you could see it for so long, right? It just stands out. But in a world where everything is so crowded and there's so many things that are competing, our internet business does not generate enough buzz, hype, or hoopla to get people to magically just come to us. Same thing with their website. If you ever look up, like type in like accounting, there's I can't remember, it was like 800 million. There's more websites for bookkeepers than there are actual bookkeepers, accountants, and CPAs, because a lot of people have 3 or 4 different websites to try and game the system to get as much visibility as possible. So you just building your website, you're generally not going to be seen. So in this case, we have to go and start building our reach, our audience, our network, and our name in the online space and in the in-person space. Now, how to do that? Number one, you have to start focusing on going after clients who are above $1 million in top line revenue. Now, and this is something that I knew it inherently when I was getting started back in 2015, but I did not know how to put it into words until probably like when I started like mentoring different students, right? Once I had mentored probably like 10 students back in like 2019, that's when I figured out, oh, because I would just see people inside like Facebook groups like, I just got this client and they're paying me $100 a month and I feel like they underpaid me and like they just don't respect me. In a lot of cases, it's like more of a misunderstanding of the actual skeleton of a small business. I don't think a lot of people understand. So one thing I always talk to my bookkeepers and CPAs when they come in our mentorship program is, do you actually know the profit margins of most industries or the average business owner? And I'm so surprised because I thought this was just there's so many things that I just like have learned or know that I think is like common knowledge that just isn't. Like a lot of people don't know that like most small businesses are operating between a 5 to 30% profit margin. So 5% to 30% profit margin if they're running it correctly. There's a lot of businesses that are actually operating on a negative margin. There's a lot of businesses that don't even know what their margin is. So if, let's say you're talking to a company and that company is doing $100,000 per year, if you ask them to pay you $1,000 per month, that is $12,000 per year. Off $100,000, number one, you're asking for 12% of the total money they got. But let's say that they're operating at a 20% margin. That means they only cleared $20,000, and if it's an LLC, that's $20,000 probably going to go to the business owner, right? But if you ask for $12,000, that means that you actually made more money than the business owner made, which at $20,000 in EBITDA. Hi, future Bryce here. So, update. I found out that a lot of people may not know what EBITDA is. It's just earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. So in most business owners don't understand what that means. So if you ever try to explain that term to them, they won't know what that means. Just think in your head, like if you're a bookkeeper, and you're not an accountant, you don't understand what that word means. Just think before taxes, like how much they make before taxes. So in this case, if they made $20,000 before they had to pay taxes, they're just not making that much money. they would not have been able to actually live off of $20,000. I don't know too many people that can live off of $20,000 a year, especially if they're like in their 30s or 40s, right, which is like the average business owner age. Like they couldn't afford it, you know what I mean? So it's not really, not necessarily fair, but it's not reasonable for that person to pay you $1,000 a month, $2,000, $3,000 a month. That's why you have to start going after companies that are doing about $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million, because they have the budget and it's reasonable for them to pay you $12,000. If a company's doing $3 million a year, them paying you $12,000 a year is actually underpriced in a lot of cases. And how can we tell that? The transactional volume in most companies tends to follow the revenue, right? So you can predict how much work it's going to be, how complicated the work's going to be. And if you don't know how to do this, inside of our mentorship program, we actually teach you how to price out your services and look at a company within 5 to 10 minutes, know exactly how much you should be charging. Very important, especially when you're in a consultation call and the business owner is like pressuring you, like, how much are you charging? How much does it cost? If you can tell that within 5 minutes, man, it makes your life so much easier, okay? Now, next thing. One thing too is that you only have so many shots at the goal. So like in soccer, right? An average soccer game, I think it's what, like 190 minutes or something like that. I'm not a soccer fan, so I have no idea. But within that, generally they're only shooting at the goal anywhere between 5 to maybe 10 times per match on average. So if you only have 10, like maybe it's 5 for team A, 5 for team B. If you only have 5 shots, you gotta make sure they count. Now when I say this, a lot of the time, when you're doing your online marketing and when you're doing your networking, there's only so many people you can talk to in a short period of time. So the number one thing that's going to separate your success or failure is not necessarily you just talking to as many people as possible. It's you got to give yourself the opportunity to talk to as many of the people that can afford your service as possible. So in a lot of cases, a lot of people, what they do is, oh, I heard there's a local networking event, and they just go to that networking event, and they've wasted maybe 2-3 days, right? Because maybe they plan for the networking event, they had to do the networking event, they had to follow up with the people at the networking event. Maybe it takes them 2 weeks afterwards to start getting meetings. But what would actually be a little bit easier and a little bit better for you would be to actually look at who was there the last time they held the meeting. Call the person who actually organized it and get a feel for what size businesses are there. What are people talking about? Do you know any of the people that are there? And then you start determining, is this actually an event that could be beneficial for me, both short-term and long-term? Are they the kind of companies that I would actually want to work with, or is it just all beginners? So it's like, when you're starting out, I almost call it going slow to go fast. A lot of people just want to get run and feel like they're doing a lot of activity and a lot of hard work. And again, it feels good, it feels exciting, it feels like you're raw. But in actuality, if we can just be more intentional with the actions we're getting, we're going to get way more revenue. So I'll give you an example. So one of our students named Maxine, right? When she was starting, it took her, let's say it took her about 45 days. She took a 1 month vacation though, so it's like 45 plus like 30 days, but an actual working behavior, 45 days to get her first client. And for some people, it's like a long time. Like, I know for me, that would have been a long time. Like, you just join a mentorship program and it's, man, you're trying certain things out. And it's, okay, it doesn't make sense. Why is he telling me to do my business like this? Why is he telling me to price my service like this? Why is he telling me to go talk to this referral partner? And a lot of the stuff I teach in the mentorship program, depending on the person's situation, like their personality type, the information I give might seem a little bit backwards. And it is backwards from your point of view because I'm looking at the end and I'm giving you the advice that will take you to this desired end. Versus you might be thinking the activities that get to point A look like this. I know to get to point A, it's actually going to look totally different. I'll give you another example even further. Oh, sorry, I didn't even finish that example. So in 45 days, she gets this return from this guy, this client. How much did he get us? $23,000 from the cleanup and then $2,000 a month. That is about $47,000 from one client. Now, do you think she would have been better off just running off and getting a $100 a month client? Or do you think she's better off taking 45 days to go and make $47,000? It's almost $1,000 a day, which it didn't feel like she was making it, but she ended up making it. You know what I mean? And it's just like that, man. This business game is a lot different. Like a guy I was talking to on the phone, he was thinking about doing our mentorship program. We have a second call with him in a couple of days, but he was like saying, yeah, I've gotten like 8 kind of calls, and I got this. I'm like, you're working very hard, but the way that you're going about it, and the clients and potential clients you're talking to are not really potential clients, right? They don't fit the minimum standard that would take to actually get a real client. So yes, you might feel like you're busy, but I'd rather you take less calls, get less clients, but make way more money per client, so that you don't burn yourself out. Because the next point is, a lot of times when we're talking to clients, we're thinking about clients, we don't only have a limited amount of time, right? Because most people are working a full-time job, and you have kids, right? And you have to cook the food for the kids, and you have to go take them to practice, baseball practice, travel baseball, travel soccer. Like, you don't have time to do a lot of stuff. And in addition to that, in addition to your time, your energy is not limited too. So can you imagine getting a bunch of clients, you're spread so thin, and you can't even focus on growing your business because you have so many different balls in the air, both in your personal life and in your business? No. So you have to keep your number of clients smaller to give you enough focus to be able to continue. Okay, so I have a client here, and I can manage this client, right? Pay me $2,000 a month. Okay, but I still have the bandwidth to spend 10 to 30 minutes a day growing the business, and I can go just get another one. Okay, cool. So we spend some time here. Okay, I can go get another one. You spend here. Versus you get 100 of these small clients. Now all you're thinking about is clients. And again, the reason why is not because you don't know how to prioritize your time. It's that the better we are at bookkeeping and accounting, the more we think about actually doing the work and not growing the business. And I'm going to make another video on that, but like how to prioritize your time. We have a video of that in the past, but I think I want to make like a more updated version. But that is like the biggest thing, is really sticking in that marketing mode and not going into worker bee mode too early. I remember I had a coach one time, and I was trying to, I like color code my calendar, right? And like green is like client work. And I had a bunch of green. He's like, dude, you're spending way too much time on client work. I was like, what? But if I don't do the client work, how, won't I lose clients? He said, no, not necessarily. You just have to prioritize the marketing first, and then after the marketing first, then you can use your remaining time to do the client work. Because generally there was a principle, it's called like the time that you allot, you always take up as much time as what you set yourself. So if you can set yourself a shorter time period or a longer time period, you're basically gonna finish right around that period that you set, right? So I was giving myself the entire day to do client work, right? But really, I should have been doing marketing first, and then I would minimize not necessarily minimize totally, but like I would reduce the amount of client work time per day, and I still got the same amount of work done. But then I was able to grow my business faster. So yeah, that's the big thing. And then just really thinking about, excuse me, man, my throat. Next thing is like really thinking about like, how do you start marketing? Like, how do you go directly to the clients while still building up systems and partnerships to be able to make getting clients easier tomorrow? So, 2 ways. So, there's a bunch of different ways you could do it, but the simplest way, if you're starting out, and also if you're not in our mentorship program, I invite you to join the mentorship program. We can just give you all these different ways you can go about getting clients. It's all about having different weapons. So one weapon you can use, let's say that you just got started, right? And you're gonna do, we'll say 15 consultation calls in order to get to 10K per month, right? So what's gonna happen is, you're probably gonna close out of 15, you're probably gonna close 5 to 6. So 5 to 6 in the first 30 days of talking to them. But then there's a number of people that are still out in the wings, right? So you might have another 5, maybe 6 clients out of that original 15 that will sign up with you 3 months to 6 months from now. So the one weapon is, how do you follow up with those people until they finally say inevitably, hey, I changed my mind, I'm ready to get started with you. So then you went from having 6 clients to 10 clients, right? That's a system in itself, your follow-up system. Now, the reason why that's important is because what happens for a lot of people is they go from 0 to 6 clients, and they stop going after new clients because they just don't have the focus of the time. So now they're sitting at 5 to 6K per month. And this happens to a number of different people. That's one reason why 5K per month can be a very hard sticking point for most people, because it's just enough clients to where you feel like you're making really good progress, but it's just enough money in most people's case, like how they're like charging, to where it's just, it kind of goes back into, it triggers that worker mind, so you're so focused on doing the client work. So if you don't have So if you need the same amount of time to go from 5K to 10K as far as time in your day, it's not going to work. So you have to have that carryover from the past sales calls to coming back here and minimizing the time it takes to go and get them back on the phone, and that's going to take you over that hump. That's one way. Second way you can do this is by getting referral partnerships. So whenever you think about a referral partnership, is actually easy because it's 1 unit of time based on, like, okay, so you have to do the outreach to them, do like the call with them, get to know them, and then it's 1 unit of time, but it can keep repaying you 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months in the future. Now, if you don't know how to do a referral partnership or even what a referral partnership looks like, I actually wrote a book on referral partnerships. Right now it's on my website. It's like a friends and subscribers kind of rate for $4.95. I'm thinking about putting it on Amazon. When I put it on Amazon, it's going to be between $16 to $20 for that book. If you want to go and get a copy of it, if you want to get a copy of it, write down in the comments 6FP book, and I'll just send you a link to the private link to the friends and family discount, and you can go and pick up the book. But basically, it shows you how to go and get your first or next 6-figure partnership. Now, partnerships, if done correctly, can be the thing that changes your business. I had a lady in our program named Maggie. She got $17,000 a month in clients in 25 days from one referral partner. One referral partner. That was, it was the largest referral partnership thing and the fastest that we've ever had in the program. We've had others that have gotten like really good results as well, but this $17,000 a month in 25-ish days, you're not really gonna beat that for most people. There was one person that got a larger total number of clients over time, but hers was just fast. And if you get in front of the right people, the right partnerships who have spent their entire life building an audience of the people that you want to work with, you just kill the game, and it's ridiculous. And it gets easier and easier. So oftentimes what happens is when you're first getting started, for most people, you're going to be doing a lot more of virtual networking or in-person networking. I don't necessarily like in-person networking as much because it's just not my style. I prefer being in my air-conditioned house, my air-conditioned office. All of my cool stuff is all around me, so I feel good. It doesn't even feel like you're working. You're just relaxing and having fun. But in the beginning, it's a little bit more manual. It's a little bit more time-intensive, right? But once you start getting these partnerships in place, once you start getting these systems in place where they're giving the clients to you, everything gets way easier. I'll even give you another example. A partnership does not necessarily just have to be a person, right? You can partner with a legal firm, you can partner with a website redesigner, you can partner with the IT manager. There's a billion different types of partner. If you don't know how to do what partners will be the right one for your niche or your audience, we can help you inside our mentorship program understand who is your ideal referral partnership network. But social media can be a partner, right? Now, if you're doing social media the virtual networking way, which is you build relationships, you send friend requests, you message people, you get them on a call, that can be a little bit linear. But if you learn how to either make content, right, that can be one way. If you learn how to run advertising, that can be another way. If you learn how to put out content on a place like YouTube where it's giving you clients, YouTube is personally, YouTube is one of my biggest referral partners. Because most people don't think about that, but YouTube is actually a referral partner. I put 1 unit of energy out, and it shows it to 30 to 1,000 people. On average, my videos are getting 30 views right now, but sometimes you'll get 1,000. I have one video that has 15,000 views on it. And it's YouTube literally told 15,000 people, hey, learn more about Bryce. That's amazing. I would never have been able to do that on my own. If I was just manually texting people, that would take forever. Right? But it only took me an hour to reach 15,000 people. And you just find these different systems, different places like that. I have a business incubator that sends leads to me. So they're the local SBDC, and anytime there's this person that wants some help, they just call me, hey, Bryce can help you with this, Bryce can help you with this. And it's just so easy after you get to a certain point. But that's what you're fighting for in your first year, right? And that's how you start maximizing your income is you build a system that keeps sending you clients. And here's the cool thing. If you build your referral system or your referral platform, whatever, correctly, you can actually tell it and train it to give you the right type of clients. So we're not just getting $100 a month clients, we're getting the $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 per month clients just by having the right referral partner and telling them how to go and send leads to us. So that's the biggest thing when it comes to maximizing your business revenue. And then what is the last step? I think we're going to actually do as a part 2 for this video. So this will be part number 1. And we will do part number 2 later. Basically, make sure when you get clients, you try to keep the scope as simple as possible. I would not mix a bunch of services. Don't do tax returns for the client, tax prep, tax planning, cleanup, and then payroll, and then transactional bookkeeping, and then CFO. Don't mix all those services for the same price. If you're going to do that, you have to price each. There are some services that, yes, they do make sense to be packaged together, but you also have to learn how to split the packages and upsell clients to take it from like level 1 to level 2 to level 3 over time, so you can maximize how much value and how much revenue you're giving. But if you don't know how to do that and you don't know how to price each one of them, do not offer that many services. You're not adding more value, you're just really adding more work. And it's going to cause your scope to... Scope is like how much time it takes us to do the work. It will just keep creeping and creeping and creeping because they think that's what your package is, and there's no clear boundary into where your package ends. So now you go from maybe pricing well to you've underpriced it, undercharged it, and you're overworked, right? So you have to keep the scope very simple, and also it makes it easier for us to keep growing because, again, one thing you don't want, you do not want to get bogged down by client work, right? So if you have too many different things, you're always task switching within one client. It takes away from your ability to focus on growing the business. Once you've hit your desired top line revenue goal, now you can start upselling your clients because you don't necessarily care about getting new clients. You're basically at the point you want to be at. So next is just gravy, right? So you can choose to do that versus being forced to do that, okay? So I'm going to make a longer video about that point coming down the road. Stay tuned. So I really appreciate your time, really appreciate you watching this video. Have a good rest of your day. Also, if you want to help grow your business, like maybe you've been trying to grow your business, it's just not quite going the way you want, or maybe you haven't even started yet. You're just like, hey, I want the fastest path to success. Go ahead and click the link inside the description below this video to book a call with myself. Let's see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program, okay? I will talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your day. Take it easy.